Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about money. I've got a lot of information to give you. I think you're going to love the information. I'm not sure if you are going to love what I have to tell you, because there's a lot of there's a lot of stories to speak about. So I'm going to get started by getting some statistics, and one thing I would like to essentially these studies were made on over 2.7 million auction results. So this is the most comprehensive study ever made in terms of discrimination between genders. Yes, absolutely. We will talk about money. Okay? Money's for everybody today. Yes. Pounds, dollars, euros, yens, riyadh, you name it, all sorts of monies. And today's lesson has to do with the discrimination between genders. I would like to start by... Hi, Azita. Hi from Iran. How are you? I would like to start by saying that it's very important. This is an IQ test. Your taste is an IQ test. It's very important that you don't let yourself be controlled and fooled by those in power. I repeat, this is an IQ test. So we're going to start with some interesting statistics. 2.7 million auction results, like I said before. The good news first. I've got some good news. At school, so if you study fine arts, you'll be very happy to know that both men and women have equal opportunities. So if you go to study at university level, roughly men and women score both pretty well. So there is no difference. There is no difference between genders in terms of grades or the number of students. There seems to be no discrimination within the academic world. But women, if you are a woman, enjoy art school, because it's the last time in your life that you will be on equal footing with your male colleagues. It's the very, very last time. So we're going to start now with some statistics. You know the song "The Winner Takes It All" by ABBA? I think we should sing it all together, the winner takes it all. Men top absolutely every single statistic when it comes to sales. So I'll give you an example. The most successful female artist in terms of monies, in terms of sales, was Joan Mitchell. And Joan Mitchell, followed by Georgia O'Keeffe. So those two are the top sellers in terms of women. Joan Mitchell ranks at number 47 in terms of sales worldwide. You heard me right. So the top 46 painters are all male. Okay? So I'd like to repeat this. The top selling female artist, she ranks at number 47. And that's Joan Mitchell. Yes. And then I've got some other numbers to give you, and perhaps you're going to be quite upset. Picasso alone sold more than all the female artists in the world put together. You heard me right. Did you hear that? I'll repeat. Picasso alone sells more in auction houses than all the female artists put together from all across the world. Huh? And I've got more news to give you. Andy Warhol alone also sells more than all the female artists put together across the world. So we've got Picasso and Andy Warhol. Each of them sells more than all the female artists put together worldwide. You got me right, I think. So don't let your taste be manipulated because you've been told what to like. Oh, Sangita, I just read what you say. Some female artists on social media doing well. What is social media? Do you think that the top selling artists care about social media? No, they don't care about social media. It's much better to have an agent, a good agent, than social media. Tracy Emin, John, she doesn't even rank in the top 200. So any of the paintings by a Picasso, it will be worth like 1,000 Tracy Emins put together. So I want to repeat this. Everything everything needs to be repeated twice so it sticks in your ear. I'll be very, very, very brief. I'll read this again. No discrimination in art school. Men and women score equally well. The moment they join the art world, though, things change. Men top all the statistics. The top selling female artist, she's only on number 47. All the top 46 painters are all male, without exception. Picasso alone sold more than all the women put together, and Andy Warhol alone sells more than all the women put together. And I've got more to tell you. 0.03% of the top of the art market, so you understand, like all the money that the art world makes, if you take the top 0.03%, so it's even less than 1%, okay? If you take the top 0.03% of the art market, that represents half of the sales. So I'll repeat again, 0.03% of the sales generate as much money as all the remaining 99.997% of the sales. You understand? On this 0.03% of the sales, not even one woman is represented. And that is half of all the sales worldwide. You understand? Okay. Now, these depressing numbers needed to be denounced because I keep saying to you, I keep saying to all of my students that your taste has been manipulated. Your taste has been given to you by the elites, whoever they are, and you all say that you're a Picasso lover, a Van Gogh lover, and this and that and the other. What a cliche. Come on. Yeah, I like them, but really? Were they the best painters in history? I could give you hundreds of names that were equally as good. It's definitely not about the art. Definitely, it's not about the art. So, let's just be humble and realize that the things that we love are not the things that we love. They're the things that we were told to love. It's impossible that the art by Picasso gathers more than 50% of all the taste worldwide. It's impossible that paintings by Picasso are aesthetically more impactful than all of the artworks ever made by all the women in history. Do you understand what I'm trying to get? Don't be a sheeple. And I'm not talking about the anti-vaccine movement because that's stupid. I think you should get vaccinated. I'm just saying don't be a sheeple in terms of your own taste, in terms of what you think you like. It's time to stop the brainwashing, okay? And one thing I would like to say is that we've all been sleeping like I was thinking last week. We're all slow-boiled frogs. Do you know that frogs, if you warm up the water and if you warm it up gently, the frogs don't leave the hot water until they're cooked alive, until they die, until they're boiling. Did you know that? So frogs don't leave the water as long as the temperature is gradually warming up. We are so much like frogs. Humans are the same. We are slow roast frogs. You know, we are so easy to manipulate as a group as long as it's done slowly and slowly and slowly. So you've got some statistics for worldwide art sales. I really wanted to leave you with this. And now I've got some images to show you. Because if today's lesson is about this, if today's lesson is about money, you are going to see now who makes the money. Let's look at some images. I've got the computer for you. And first of all, is that there is a group of women that I love. They're called the Guerrilla Girls. Guerrilla as in, you know, the army. So the Guerrilla Girls, they're a group of 50-something people. I'm not sure if they're all women. There might be some men in the group. I hope so. I'd love to join. I want to be a part of the Guerrilla Girls. So the Guerrilla Girls, they storm into art museums, into exhibitions, and they denounce the discrimination that happens institutionally all across the world. By the way, the numbers I gave you are mostly for Western art. I believe that in non-Westernized countries, it's even worse, the situation. But maybe not. To be honest, I don't know anymore what to believe. I really don't think reality is as we were told. So maybe the West is not any better. Maybe it's not. So the Guerrilla Girls are this wonderful group of women. I love them to bits. And this is just 5 of them, but like I said, they're over 50. And the Guerrilla Girls, they'll just storm into art exhibitions and they wear gorilla masks. Gorilla as in a monkey. But it's spelled guerrilla as in the army. You know, the guerrilla fights? So if you type Guerrilla Girls on Google, you are going to find a lot of more information on what they do. Okay? So these are the Guerrilla Girls. Now, I'd like to show you the top selling paintings in history. So how much money each costs. And now I've got the numbers here for you. Ranking at number 5, we've got Jackson Pollock. And he sold for $260 million. By the way, the numbers are adjusted to current inflation levels. So they're adjusted to 2020 amounts, if that makes any sense. All the numbers I'm going to tell you, they have been corrected for 2020. So it didn't matter if the auction took place 30 years ago or 1 year ago. It doesn't matter in terms of currency because they've all been corrected for what we're going through now. So, Jackson Pollock. The painting is called number 17A. Just that, number 17A. And it sold for £216 million. It's household enamel paint dripped onto a piece of cotton sheet. And even the dripping technique was not created by Jackson Pollock. So that's another myth. That's another lie. Jackson Pollock did not create dripping. Actually, there was a female artist in New York from Ukraine, I believe, and apparently she was the one who invented dripping, not Jackson Pollock. And Jackson Pollock knew her work, so Jackson Pollock copied what she was doing, but he made all the money, not her. So this is typical, okay? So at $216 million. Jackson Pollock. Next painting. It's called When Will You Marry? It was painted by Gauguin. So here it is. And this painting, When Will You Marry by Gauguin, sold for $227 million. $227 million for this Gauguin. So he ranks at number 4. Now at number 3, we're going to have Cézanne. The Card Players by Cézanne. He sold for $284 million. Cézanne, the card players, okay? And I'm not sure if he sold that well when he was alive. This is maybe something else we should talk about, you know? I'm not sure if these artists sold that well. But again, you know, if you get the nod from a rich art collector, you start selling well. Ideally, after your death. Ideally. So, you know, so you don't take a cut of the commission. It's important that you die first and you sell after. Very important in the art world. So Cézanne at 284 million. Now we've got de Kooning. He made a painting called Interchange, which is this. I don't know if you can see. There's nothing to see, really. There is nothing to see. De Kooning, de Kooning sold this. Well, he wasn't alive, but he sold this for 324 million. Okay? So that's de Kooning. 324 million. Yeah, for this. Okay? Okay, I have to tell you a story. I believe it was de Kooning. I'm not sure. I think it was de Kooning. But if it's de Kooning, congratulations. Reputedly, de Kooning, I'll have to check, okay? I'm not sure if it's de Kooning. But reputedly, de Kooning went to an auction of his own paintings. And, you know, he painted the mother, the woman. He did like so many ugly women. And he painted ugly woman after ugly woman. He was like a factory. And and the fun thing is that de Kooning went to one of his auctions, and through an agent, the agent made a fortune, because the agent bought the painting for zero, pretty much, and then sold it for a few millions. And then, reputedly, at the end of the auction, de Kooning goes straight to the agent, grabs him, kisses him on the mouth, and then the agent, in a state of shock, says, "Why did you do that?" And de Kooning said, "Do you feel raped? That's how I felt when you sold my painting for all that money." So the thing is that artists themselves never see the color of the money, okay? So don't believe in this myth that these artists are rich. Usually they're not. So usually they have contracts with galleries or with art agents, and they supply everything they painted for a modest fee. And then it's the agents and the galleries that eventually sell it by hundreds of millions. All right? Yes, Lucy, it's better to laugh than to cry. And then finally, we've got the most expensive painting in the world at $470 million. $470 million. The Salvator Mundi by supposedly Leonardo da Vinci. And I say supposedly because this is what they found. So essentially, what they found was so destroyed and scratched that it could have been pretty much by anyone. I mean, look at the hair and so on. Supposedly by Leonardo da Vinci. And then this was the restoration. So one thing I can tell you is that restorers, they're like plastic surgeons, you know, they can do miracles. So I want to show you again before and after. And now look here, it's very interesting. Apparently, two different restorations of the same picture. So this is how the painting was displayed in New York many years ago, and then in London. So I believe that the faded version was painted, was the earlier restoration, and then it was brightened up and made to look nicer to be exhibited in London. So a little bit of cosmetics. And it's meant to be a man, Sangeeta. So can't you recognize Christ? It's meant to be a man. But the interesting thing is, this is the full painting now, as it was displayed at Christie's in London. I didn't see the original, but yeah, it's called Salvator Mundi, like I said, John. So I didn't see the original, but there's absolutely no evidence that it's by Leonardo. It could as well have been by his atelier, by his studio, because he had students. So there is no evidence. That's what I want to tell you. Okay? So I hope you've enjoyed these shocking numbers on art sales and how much things really do cost. Okay? And if you have any questions, just type them down there and hopefully I'll be able to read a few. And I'm going to leave you now with, well, let's start with the the theory bit is done. Let's start now with the practical part of the lesson. So let me just get rid of this. And because I'm a Latino, you know, I'm from South Europe, I didn't have time to set up and prepare the materials. Okay. And I didn't have time because I really wanted to spend some quality time with you, really good quality time, telling you some of these statistics. Right? Oh, Sangeeta, no, I don't have an agent. By the way, if anyone is watching this and they're agents, I'm interested in chatting with them to maybe strike a deal, but I've got my conditions. I'm not going to sell my soul to the devil. If the agent doesn't come from hell, okay, I'm interested in chatting with them. Yeah. Okay. So allow me to cut the little bit of to do the stay wet palette. And by the way, dearest students, if you have exercises that you have painted working just with one value of light and dark, I would like you to post them now on the comments below, okay? So please post the pictures of what you have been painting so far. This is the last lesson about working with a limited value range. So from next week onwards, I'm going to start different topics. But I promised you that we were going to do a last drawing. It's going to be a hand. I'll be painting my own hands. I promise you that I'll be doing a last drawing, and this time with almost white shades. I hope it shows on camera. Yeah, my agent would love this t-shirt, Diana. Absolutely. But I repeat, I won't sell my soul to the devil. I actually don't care about money. I just want the things that money can buy. But money doesn't interest me the slightest. But things that money can buy, yes. To be fair, if I was a millionaire, or whatever you name it, I'd give most of it away. I really would. I'd keep $1 million for myself, and then I'd give the remainder 100 million or something to those who really need. Because you don't need all that money. Okay, I just wet my palette, and we are ready. I hope I can manage this today. It's going to be an impromptu lesson. So I'll be working with buff titanium. And please remember that these exercises can be done with absolutely any technique. It doesn't have to be acrylics, you know, it doesn't have to be oils. It can be anything. It can be drawing, it can be pastels, you name it. As long as you, what really matters is, let me just drop the camera slightly, and then I will move it forwards eventually. As long as the contrast is low, you know, you are still working accordingly to the exercises I wanted you to do. So here's some buff titanium. And what I'll be doing today is I'm going to create, well, I'd say 3 shades. So I'm going to create very, very, very pale buff titanium. So it's not going to be white, it's going to be a mix. You know, it's going to be a mix between white and cream. So I'm kind of painting a pale color. And this pale color, let me just make a test, because I do want it to be darker than white. Yes, I don't know if you can see that. I know today's lesson, bear with me, you need patience. Today's lesson is going to be about patience. It's going to be really subtle. So I'll be trying to paint today with even less than 1 single value jump on the Munsell scale. Even less than usual. I'm trying to compress. I know, John, it's not showing up well, but it will show eventually. I'm going to make it a bit darker. I don't know if you can see that now. Yes, you can. And I'm going to finally pull this a little bit nearer. So now you can see that color. That's going to be my lightest color. And now I'm going to make a medium value. You guys see what I'm doing? I'm mixing the cream with some of that lightest color I pre-mixed before. Let me make a test to see if this is working. Is this dark enough? Okay, that's going to show. And finally, I will test the pure cream as it comes from the tube. I think this can work as my value range. I think that works. I'm just going to perhaps add a touch of dark into the mid value, because it's a little bit too pale for my liking. I prefer if this is slightly darker. Okay, and I'm going to paint my hands. All right, I'll be painting my hands, and you know something? I'll get pain on my hands, almost for sure. I'll get pain on my hands. Yeah, I've got white on my beard, but John, this is real silver, huh? This is not paint. Today is all about money. I've got dollars on my shirt, and I've got silver and platinum on my beard. Right. And I just want to start some of the sketching. I don't know if you guys can see the hands. And I will try to create... I'm literally just working with the lines that can be sketched, and I'm using the zigzags. So essentially, I want to do like in the bark drawing, where you're going to mark some of the important moves with the simplest zigzags. You probably can't see because I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if I'm not on the way. That's going to be a hand, okay? I do take difficult challenges, Gold. It's really important not to fall asleep. You know, it's really important not to spend our lives doing just things that we can do easily. Okay, this is too big. Can you see the hands? It will show soon. I'm making with the medium shades, Raji. I'm making the lines with the medium shade, but most of these lines are just going to be a simple draft. Okay. Now, that looks roughly like a hand now. I might have to move the camera a little bit further in, because I'm really not sure if you guys can see or not the beginning of the hands. Can you guys see the hand? Wake up at the back. Oh, I see. Am I covering the hand too much? It's because I'm right-handed and this is my left hand. Unless I move to this side, you know, if I move to this side, maybe you guys can see better what I'm doing. Because I'm right-handed, it's a nightmare. Right. And now I want to show you what not to do. Okay? I really want to show you what not to do. And what not to do is to paint first the light colors. Because I've got the structure of the hand more or less showing, I'm going to pull the camera even a little bit further. So hopefully you'll be able to see even better. Can everyone now see the hand? Yes. And I want to show you first what not to do. And what not to do is to paint first the lights. Now, because I've got practice and I know what I'm doing, I'm going to paint first the lights. Okay, guys? But this is only because I have practice. If you are beginners, don't paint the lights. This is a white sheet of paper. Start by the darks. Paint your darks first. So let me start with what not to do. Okay, so we are going to start by painting the lights. My God, this will be hard. This will be hard, even for me, because the lights are now reading as shadows. Do you understand the problem? And this is hard. This is something that I really hate doing. And even for me, it's difficult because it's throwing me out of balance. It's like painting a negative. So I have to imagine that the lights are actually in negative shape, like when you paint, you know, when you are working with an old film. You know, it's a bit like doing a negative photo in black and white. This is really difficult. So I am now imagining that all the lights are actually in reverse, and it's going to drive me nuts. You might see me fail live, but I don't care. Even if I fail live, I will fail gracefully. You know, it's going to be amazing. The reason, Elena, why I don't want to use the paper as white is because I want to compress as much as possible the value range. White would already give too much contrast for what I'm searching for. I'm really searching for just maximum 1 step difference in the Munsell scale. Maximum. Ideally, even less. So, where am I? I even don't know where the nail is anymore. You guys have to direct me. I think this is a light. At least it reads as a light to me. Yeah, that's a light, that's a light. God, this is a light. If this is a light, then I need to paint a dark here. Oh, if this is a light, up till the line, let's say up till this line, I'll just create a bit of shadow to make the shape round. Not because I see a shadow there, but I want to use it to create a slightly 3D effect, you know, if that makes any sense. Okay, I think this is a light. Okay, this is a tough exercise. This is Diana. Record this, and then you can ask for money, because I will try to delete this video as soon as it's out. No, I'm joking. It will still go live, which means I have no choice but to make this work. I have no choice. My reputation is now at stake. I have absolutely no choice. I think all the lights are pretty much... Sorry, I have to change the position again. I think all the lights are pretty much done. Okay, next color. So this is what not to do. You know, you shouldn't paint your lights first. Because if you paint your lights first, your lights are going to look like shadows. You shouldn't do that. It's a big no. Okay, second color. And Annie, if you're watching the video, why do you think we need a system? If I didn't make these colors systematic, there is no way I could be as confident now painting some of the lights before the shadows. You understand? Right. Now let's paint value number 2. And look at this. Look at this. It's practically indistinguishable from the lights. Without a system, there is no way we can paint these subtle shapes and forms. No way. Okay? Absolutely no way. Oops, that was a mistake in drawing. Let me cheat. I'll have to go a little bit, you know, I have to cheat a bit as well. So let me cheat. And I hope this dries darker, because if it doesn't, I'll have to repeat the layout again. I really hope this dries. Yes, finally. Okay. I can rest assured. I think I'm gonna make it. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm gonna make it? You tell me. This is tough, I'm telling you. I'm not even going to be bothered painting those projecting shadows yet of the fingers, because I'm trying to sort out the anatomy first. It's way too difficult to paint in reverse and to paint as a... It's way too difficult to paint in reverse and to paint this as a... how do you call it? As a negative. And it's even harder to be painting as a negative and speaking at the same time, because I'm giving a tutorial. Okay, another mistake in drawing, but it doesn't really matter, because then I'll use the background color to trim things over, if you guys allow me. Will you allow me that? Am I allowed to trim some mistakes in shape and form? Won't you be angry for sure? Aha, I think the hand is coming now. I'm not sure about this shape. Okay, connect. Yes. But do you understand, guys? If I hadn't pre-planned the palette, there is no way there is no way that I could even paint this image. Of course, you might wonder, but what's the point of painting this image, right? Because technically, why are we wasting our time painting difficult things? Well, my belief is that it's never a waste of time. I'm actually developing, like Ian said, and said very well, I'm actually developing different parts of my brain, because I'm now working with something that I have never worked before, which is paint live, teach at the same time, and create something convincing, and that hopefully doesn't look terrible. Sorry, I'm losing the shape of the hands. Let me twist the fingers. Of course, you guys can't see my hand from the exact same point of view that I am looking. You know, I'm looking more to the right, and you guys are looking more from the left. But essentially, you still see a hand, don't you? I hope you do. Does everybody see a hand? Or do you see something else? Okay, I'm shading this on purpose. So again, I'm painting tones here that I don't exactly see, because I want to make sure that the shape still turns in space. And I'm compressing as much as possible these shapes. Okay, the thumb meets there. This needs to come higher up, I'd say. Okay, here. Something like this. Something like this. And look that the deepest shadows are now the lightest colors, because I started from the light to dark. And that's something you shouldn't do. But I did it on purpose, you know, because I like to make my life difficult. I really do. I like to make my life difficult. I love to, you know, to mess around with paints and with my reputation. I'm following the advice of Rumi, where Rumi says in his poems, which I absolutely love, in his poems, Rumi says that we should aim for shock, for notoriety. We should lose our reputation, you know? I'm misquoting the poem now, but it's absolutely beautiful. And one thing I do love about Rumi, there's many things I love about Rumi, but one of them is that although he was I think this is becoming too big. No, I think it's still acceptable. So although he was a mystic, although he was pretty much a saint, you know, he was a holy man, his poems are so human, and they're so spectacularly, how can I even say this? They're so non-religious, although he's religious. Do you understand what I'm trying to get? That his poems, it's like if they were written by somebody now on the 21st century. Those poems were written like what, 700 years ago, I believe? Was that 700 years ago that Rumi lived? If somebody could correct me, was that 700 years ago that Rumi lived? And I think it's just magical that when I read his poetry, I still find them relevant nowadays. Okay, enough of this. I'm really losing it. This was almost one of the most... I don't know why I did this. This is stupid, you know? I shouldn't be doing these things, you know? I'm having fun, but one day it's going to backfire. Let's lose our reputation. And now finally... Oh my goodness me, finally, thank goodness. Finally, I'm going to mark the shadows. Oh, So this hand will start existing as a hand. He died 750 years ago, José Pedro. That's amazing. So he lived 800 years ago, and he's one of my top favorite mystics in history. Everything he wrote, he's still relevant today. Everything he wrote is still relevant today. Shadows. Thank goodness. Shadows. Come on, a bit more shadow. I want to make sure that this shadow is a shadow. Actually, this should be a light, but it doesn't matter. I'm just happy that I can finally see that finger is too fat. I'll get back to it later. That finger, I think, is better. Oh, my goodness me. I thought I was not going to make it. You'd be eating me alive if things went wrong. You'd be posting nasty things online. And I would have to tell you, guys, it's a free video. You don't have to like it, you know? You don't have to like it. This is free. It's a free video. My reputation is at stake. But I think we're also entitled nowadays that even free videos, the public thinks that we have to perform. And the truth is, we don't. So, sorry public, if you are hearing me, but I'm not doing this for narcissists. I'm not doing this to serve anyone. I'm actually doing this because there's people at home, stuck at home during the quarantine, and they need intellectual stimulation. And that's why I'm making these free art classes for everybody to watch. Literally everybody. Because people need intellectual stimulation. Okay? We're not here to serve anyone. Neither to be served. Okay, I think the hand is starting to show. I only wish I could step back to see this. Because really and truly, I need some space, you know, to be able to judge the proportions accurately. I'm too close up at the moment. So I can't even see. Okay. I'd say mid-tone now. Let me just mix a bit of the light color. Yeah, mid-tone now. This needs to grow slightly. That's half decent. I think we have a hand pretty much. That's half decent. Now I've got a question to ask you guys. How did I draw this hand in terms of getting the anatomy more or less right? I say more or less because there is no way that I can tweak things at the moment without stepping back, because we're way too close up. I can't really see. But I think we have a hand. Let me do a break, okay? Time for a break, if you guys don't mind. Oof. Okay, this is a hand just painted in the moment, on the fly of the moment, starting with painting the highlights as a dark color, and then painting the mid-tones, and only last painting the shadows. Of course, the proportions are slightly off, but there is no way that I can correct this without stepping back, even from my own hand. Okay, I survived. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me. This was This was a tough one. Let me check the time. I'm trying to run away. I don't know if you see, but I am trying to escape, before things get worse. Right. So back to our conversation. And now that I'm facing the camera, I can definitely read your questions and I can ask, I can hear your thoughts by reading them. So please write Raji, for your question, I'm just painting on paper. This is just a bit of old paper. It's even ripped. I don't know if you can see the top, but it's a damaged sheet of paper. So I just decided to use it, to paint this hand as a demonstration in class. And I was showing you what not to do. Okay, so don't start by the lights if you are painting on a white canvas or white sheet of paper. Always start by the darks. But of course, that if you're painting on a black canvas or a black sheet of paper, you do the reverse. You should start by the lights. Okay? And so today's lesson, absolutely, Ian. You should always start by painting the darks if you're painting on white paper, so you can see what's happening. I did the reverse on purpose. I was showing you what not to do, so that you could see that for the first 10 minutes of this hand, it was impossible to read as a hand. It was literally impossible. Okay, impossible, because everything was upside down and wrong, and it's very confusing for the eyes. So I need you to make your lives easy. Start easy, so then you can paint the complex. I'm not going to paint more today, okay? I had enough of this hand. Now, two things I would like to share with you. The first one is that just give me a second. I just noticed something that is annoying me. Because this middle finger is so bad. Okay, that's better. Yeah, much better. It was about to fall off because it was so thin that it could, anyone could snap it off. So the middle finger was not very good. Now, what I wanted to tell you is I've got great news. The first one is that I'm now recording professionally. Well, I'm just about to start. I'm recording professionally the real art courses with my dearest friend. I don't know if you guys saw the documentary that was released for the Portuguese television, which is on my YouTube channel. You can see it later. It's a documentary for a channel called RTP. And the journalist Renato Guerra, he made that documentary. Well, we just now arranged for him to film me professionally, not like this, not like an iPhone and a bit of paper. No, it's going to be the most beautiful thing. We have a spectacular setting, a wonderful building. The lights are going to be professional, the cameras, everything. And like I promised you before, I'm going to start with online drawing courses. I will not be teaching painting until you go through drawing. I refuse to teach you painting until you learn how to draw. So if you guys want to enroll, give me another month or two. These things take a while, perhaps even more. But I'm starting with the bark drawing technique, and then there will be more courses released. And the other thing is that this documentary that Renato filmed was just a one-day work. And I was so impressed by his professionalism. It was a one-day work, but if he wanted, he could have done it all in half an hour, It's very easy just to interview the artist, go to his studio, and chat for half an hour, and bang, the documentary is done. It was an 8 minutes documentary. He would get paid the same, it's for public television. But Renato, out of his own... I was amazed. He insisted that we should film for the whole day and even film a little bit more the day after, just to make 8 minutes of documentary. he's so professional that I've decided to hire him. So yeah, I will need everyone's help to then promote the courses and advertise them. The more the merrier. You've been my students, so you can definitely put out the word for me. But essentially what I've done today now, which was to work with only these three colors in very pale pastel tones, is nothing more, nothing less than the bark technique applied to real life, you know, as I was drawing my hands. Do you understand? So as I draw my hands, I was using the bark technique. Let me check the time, because I've got 3 minutes. I want to make one last experiment. If you, okay, I'll ask the class what you want me to do. Do you want me to paint the background the exact same color as the shadow color, or do you want me to leave the background white? You write it down right now. If you give me an answer in the next 10 seconds, I will do as you say. So the public shall decide. Do you want me to leave the background white, or do you want me to quickly paint the background in the color of the shadow so that the shadows melt with the background, and let's see what happens? You tell me. What is that, John? You wrote where you meant white. So you want me to leave it white, yeah? Anyone else? It seems like nobody's reacting. Oh, come on, guys. I bet you fell asleep. I was so boring that you fell asleep. So you all wanted white. Giuseppe at background, same color. Ah, we have a technical impact. Shadow color. Ian. So 3 against 2. Leave as is. Even again. Come on. Yes means nothing. Come on. Lightest shade. Ah, so we've got... Okay, let me paint the background. And really and truly, I've got nothing to lose. You know, the worst that can happen is for the hand to disappear. So what? That's not an issue. Let me paint this as the shadow color. Sorry guys, I will not be checking my hand anymore because I'm really tired of holding the shape. Let's see if this works. My belief is that it will work very well. Very well. So that's the shadow color. What shape was that? Oh, I see. Okay. Something like this. And then, so there's no hand here, and then something like, that's going to be a finger. But see what happens when you block in a background color that is the same color as the shadow. Surprisingly, the shape still reads. So surprisingly, you still have a hand. And surprisingly, it still looks 3D. Again, this is bark technique. You know, those things are learned in the... It's starting to look 3D, actually. Somehow, it's even more... somehow it's even more impressive. Let me get more paint out, because I ran out. Raji, these are acrylics. So I'm just washing my brushes with water. I wish I had a more exciting chemical to say, you know. Next time I might use white wine or something. But it's just good old plain water. My favorite drink in the world, by the way. Okay, I'm just quickly blocking in the... oops, I messed up that shape. Doesn't matter. I'm just quickly blocking in the shadow color. And look how the hand still reads. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. This finger will become too thin because I just messed up the right edge, but it doesn't really matter. You guys saw me paint live, so you know I can fix it. My reputation is not at stake anymore. You know, my reputation is now saved for one more week. Next week I might risk it again. Like Rumi said, you know, we have to lose our reputation. Who needs a reputation? Only weak people. Weak people need reputations. Or customer service, that's different. That's not being weak, that's just part of the job, you know. But, okay, and just the last bit here on the right. I'm just doing this quickly, so I'm not turning my back on you, because I hate turning my back on you, but that's what you have to do when you paint like this on camera. So apologies, I know that a back never looks good on camera, even when it's full of dollars, you know, it never works. It's a mistake of filming. So young film directors, don't have your actors turning their back onto the audience, because it usually looks really, really bad. Same in theater, same in dance, you know. It usually destroys. Let me just block this to clarify the shape. And I think now this finger is too fat, so I'm gonna trim it slightly. Okay, done for now. And last but not least, let me just quickly reinforce some of these shadow colors to make them exactly the same color as the background. Okay, I want to show you that when the shadows are exactly the same color as the backgrounds, and when you paint all your shadows the same shade, it still works marvelously well in terms of 3D effects. Learn this, okay? Learn. Don't just watch. Don't be, don't be passive in these lessons. Question me. Say things like, it's not true. Yeah. Make me angry, okay? Don't be passive, you know. Don't just watch. This is not an art class for voyeurs, you know. I'm not an exhibitionist either. This is essentially for you to have an opportunity to learn more about how to paint better, but also how to observe the reality around you better. You know, how to question the arts world as well. Like those statistics I've just shown you. You know, all of these things is to make you aware. So it's essentially to make you more intelligent, so that when you go to the art museum, you know, you're not tricked by what somebody told you that you should be doing in that art museum. You have enough information, you know, to look at reality and question a lot of the things you were told as a young person. I'm just clarifying a bit better the lights and the shadows. So I'm just time to stop. I will just now retrim this finger because it went too small. I didn't like it. You know, it was a bit too flimsy. That's better. This week I have to go back to my paintings. John, if a woman submitted her art as a man, would it be any different? Most probably. And like you said, and said very well, George Eliot, it was the same in writing, right? So George Eliot, she had to do that as well in order to be published. But I don't know how that would go long term, because sooner or later you would have to meet your collectors, you would have to meet your clients, your gallerists. So you would need somebody to pose as a man if you are a woman. Okay, hand painted with just one value range difference between light and dark. And then at the very end, background painted with exactly the same color as the shadow shape of the hand. I think it worked, considering the limited amount of time. So you guys have a wonderful week, and please post your art for this group to see. You should be painting, you should be drawing. You don't need paints to make this exercise. You know, you can use coloring pencils, you can use pastels, it doesn't matter, chalk. Just make sure you compress the values. So make sure that your 3 colors are very similar, okay? Compress the values. That's what we are doing in this class. Next week, we're definitely going to change the topic. We will not be working with 3 values compressed scale anymore. Type down what would you like me to teach you. So please write it down now. What should be the topics for next week? And I'm going to listen to you. I will try to follow what you guys are interested in. And another thing I need you to do is, because you can't post images in this chat, it's just not possible. Please post them on my wall. So the paintings that you are doing, please tag me on Facebook, and I will accept the tag so that everyone can see what my students are doing online, you know, virtually. And of course, I can't really help you yet. We're not doing Zoom. We're not doing Connect. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some of the paintings you are doing. You can paint anything you want. Just compress the scale, all right? Lots of love to everyone, and please keep typing down the topics for next week's lesson. I've got lots of ideas. I know what I want to teach, but I want to know what you want to teach, what you want to learn. I mean, you're the boss, okay? Ciao. Bye-bye. Lots of love.